Hi, my name is Stefan Osthaus. I'm the president of the Customer Institute. As you might know, we're a global, international, independent and not-for-profit organization committed to excellence in customer centricity. Our board consists of practitioners from top leading brands like Microsoft, Airbnb, SES Satellites. We have consultants, we have academics from the top universities around the world, as well as solution providers. So my question to them was, what is your advice to top-notch customer centricity initiatives running for awards? What can they do to prevent that their organizations become irrelevant at some point? And we can see what it means to become irrelevant here. We came to one of the best-known industrial ruins in Germany. During the more than 80 years of history, almost 40 million tons of specialized iron have been produced here. And then one day, the whole operation was irrelevant and is left behind as a ruin and landmark. So let's see what our board of directors' advice for you is. I'll be counting down from 6 to 1. Number 6 on the list of the 6 most dangerous pitfalls for sophisticated customer centricity initiatives is having a blind spot on employee experience. Now let me explain. This bit has 2 aspects to it. First of all, if you miss out on your employees as being internal customers, you miss out on one of the biggest potential for improvement within the organization. Only facing external processes for improvement and streamlining them for reduced customer effort is only one half of the equation. You need to make sure the internal processes with your internal customers run as seamless as your external ones. The second aspect of potentially having a blind spot in employee experience is your employees know best what's going wrong in your organization. So creating a strong voice of the employee program taps into this potential and makes sure everyone is heard and every suggestion is considered. So sit down with your head of HR and discuss how you can build a sophisticated voice of the employee program matching your voice of the customer program. Make becoming the best place to work part of your strategy of becoming customer-centric. Because trust me, when your CEO stands on stage at the annual sales conference and claims you want to be customer-centric, 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 the mojo wears off fast. If he complements this message with becoming the best place to work, you can easily drive the cultural change that is needed for your initiative. Item number 5 on our list of top challenges for mature customer centricity initiatives is data. Maybe one of the following 3 pitfalls applies to your program. Number 1, flying blindly. Not having enough data, not having the right measurement tools to measure the touch points across your customer journey and measure the performance of the teams that contribute most to your customer experience. Challenge number 2, having the wrong data. Maybe you started your initiative with what was available in the organization, but the more carefully you map this with your customer journey, you might find that there are very important touch points that are currently not covered in your measurement system. And actually the third one is my favorite one because I see it with almost every client I work with. Not spending enough time with your data. So here you are, all proud and shiny, having built a measurement system across the organization, all touch points covered, the most modern tools implemented, and now what? Do you have the analytics muscle? And do you spend the time actually working with the data to turn data into insight? So this is the advice. Make sure you have enough time to generate insight from your data. Make sure you have an all-encompassing measurement system that at least spans across the most relevant touch points of your customer journey. And make sure that this feedback you collect from customers comes in on an ongoing basis and gets worked with on an ongoing basis. This will help you to react to meaningful customer feedback whenever you need to. And note the word meaningful, because here's an extra bonus challenge: butterflies flying through the organization. Very often one customer is very vocal and very loud about a complaint or a suggestion or something that went wrong. And very often these very vocal complaints get more attention than they deserve. So make sure you protect your program from butterflies and only react to meaningful feedback. Item number 4 on our list is the return on investment. Now, the pitfalls in this category start with your potential inability to prove the impact of your customer centricity initiative on the bottom line. Now, if that happens to you, you will ultimately lose the support of your executive team. Now, you might say, I'm very much capable of proving this, but here's your second pitfall. You might just miss doing it in the light of all the things you're busy with during the day. I've seen so many customer centricity initiatives where the data was available, the analytics muscle was available, but simply nobody ever found the time to look at the data and create this return on investment success story. Taking 600 customer feedbacks from your Voice of the Customer program, looking up those 600 customers in your CRM system and doing the multivariate correlation analysis to prove the impact on churn, on shopping basket, on purchasing frequency, you name it. Now make sure this doesn't happen to you, and with all the things you're busy with, never forget creating and telling your success story as you go. The third element of this challenge around return on investment is the lack of patience in your executive team. Now, every customer centricity initiative is a maturity journey that needs time to ramp up. And as you go, expectations about the impact on the bottom line might be bigger in your executive team than what you can deliver in year 1 or year 2. So make sure to set expectations right. Make sure to communicate to the executive team how you are on a maturity journey that will grow its impact as you go and as the program grows year by year. The third biggest threat to your customer centricity initiative are all items related to culture. Let's double click on this and see what we mean when there's warnings around your cultural focus in customer centricity. First of all, many organizations we work with around the globe underestimate the amount of cultural change that is actually required in order to become more customer-centric. Involving everyone, making sure every part of the organization is represented through ambassadors, champions, you name it, and making sure everyone in the organization understands it's an initiative that will drive maturity over a long period of time as compared to a project which might end next year. So be clear about the cultural change you need and you can expect from the organization and communicate this clearly. Secondly, losing the outside view is another cultural threat. If you become too focused on becoming efficient, on process optimization, on creating digital experiences, you might lose that empathetic view on the needs of your customers. So when you come back to the office on Monday, check to make sure everyone in the organization is also empowered to deliver empathetic, human-focused service as well. Now, the next element of missing out on the customer culture that you want to create is the wrong focus on the customer support organization. Either your executive team believes that customer centricity just means fixing the customer support organization. Or in contrary, what we see as well is there is no focus whatsoever on customer support, and all customer centricity focus is delivered on product, services, communication, and other areas. So make sure this important touch point in your organization gets the right attention, the right resources, and the right focus to drive customer centricity where it matters most. As you go, try to avoid 2 additional pitfalls. The first one is becoming inhuman nerds. So we're all focused on digital experiences, we're all data-driven, we're all efficiency and process-driven. Make sure this doesn't take away from the basics. Don't become too wowish. I mean, we're here at Customer Experience Awards and you want to deliver wow factor here to win, but when you present your experiences and touch points to your customers, make sure it's not only about the wow factor, make sure you reliably and sustainably also deliver basics that work effortless and sustainably for your customers. The second biggest threat to your customer centricity program, according to our directors, and please don't laugh, is your executive team. Actually, 25% of them believe that this is where you have to fear most. The first reasons are changes in your executive team. The previous CEO was very focused and committed to your program, and now you have a new leader on board. Will he be equally committed, or will it only be lip service when he speaks about customer centricity? Does he have strong business objectives without matching them in his view of the strategy with the right customer centricity objectives? Another challenge in the executive team is if your executive is too focused and doesn't transport this excitement into middle management. So the CEO is a big fan of customer centricity, but middle management doesn't follow through. This can have many reasons. The strategy lingo might be very business-ish. The targets are set on market share, on sales objectives, on internationalization, with no customer success metrics being included. Incentives in the organization might be set based on business objectives rather than on customer centricity goals. So manage this carefully, speak to your executive team and make sure strategies include customer centricity metrics. Make sure incentive programs in the organization span across both customer centricity as well as other business goals. Now, with this said, the customer centricity program benefits most from the support from the executive team. So make sure as a leader in customer centricity, you don't interact with your peers horizontally, the leaders of other business functions. Make sure you have a strong footprint in the executive team with regular conversations and influence that you can deliver on the centricity strategy of your organization. Now, the top threat to customer centricity in your organization, according to 50% of our directors, is inertia. And inertia has two aspects in this context. First of all, it is the lack of innovation. Secondly, it's the lack of adaptability. So let's start with the lack of innovation and how can that be a threat to your customer centricity initiative. If you, in your improvement programs, become too focused on reliability and consistency, you will lose the width of view on innovation. If you stop experimenting, if you stop improving things that are actually already going well today, you will miss out on leap quantum jumps forward for your experience that your competitors are working on today. So make sure you have systematic innovation tools in place, just like you have systematic quality control tools in place, to make sure innovation can span beyond what is accepted as best practice today. Make sure you're not just engaging in customer journey management, but in addition, take care of your customers' lifestyle management, bring more and new topics to the table that might become relevant for your audiences today. Start thinking about sustainability, the environment, LGBT rights, climate change, and other things that might be widely but still be related to your products and services. So imagine the next frontier. Keep experimenting and innovating, and never stop challenging the status quo, no matter how successful your program is today. The second element of inertia, as I mentioned before, is the lack of adaptability. Now, are you traditionally a technology company or a hospitality company, or have you been built on services that are very process-driven? How can your organization change to become more empathetic? There's a wonderful example from dog brand Chewy, where a subscription customer calls into customer service to cancel his dog food subscription because his dog has passed away. Not only did the customer service representative cancel and refund, but he also sent flowers and a card with sympathy to the customer, who obviously told the world about it, otherwise we wouldn't have heard about it. Is your organization capable of those diversions from process? Are your employees empowered to adapt to the ever-changing needs of customers? Speaking about satisfaction, someone put it into mathematical equation once. He said customer satisfaction equals reality minus expectations. So if your reality exceeded expectations in the past, hence creating satisfaction, make sure this is still the case today. Adapt to ever-changing and ever-growing expectations in your customer base to make sure as an organization you can adapt and stay on top with your customer centricity initiative. Thank you. I hope you found this advice from our board of directors useful. If you want more of this and consistently want more of this, consider becoming an organizational member of the Customer Institute. Thank you very much. Let's open it up for questions.